G'day, prospectors. Tony from Gold Talk, Leonora. On a beautiful sunny Sunday afternoon, we're in the workshop where the magic happens, and I wanted to talk about something that doesn't get a lot of attention, but everyone sort of knows about it. And me not being afraid of too much, I thought, well, I'll just run it up the flagpole, as they would say. And what that is people that prospect illegally, and unfortunately there's a lot of it in Western Australia, and I only know the West Australian system. People that are prospecting illegally over here in WA are called poachers or pirates, similar to in the opal game they're called ratters, and basically that's people doing the wrong thing, people that are thieving. And I guess there's lots of reasons people do that. I really think it's out of desperation. Sometimes it's out of ignorance, and unfortunately ignorance is no grounds of defence in the eyes of the law. And I think more importantly that these days with some of the mobile phone apps like Trilobite, there's no excuse for it. Everyone knows pretty much where they are all the time without any concerns. So the thing is, if you have any mining tenement in Western Australia, whether it's prospecting or exploration or a mining lease, you need permission to be on there. You can't just go out and detect it. So you need to have written permission from the tenement holder in the case of a prospecting licence or a mining lease. That's your only option, to get written permission from the tenement holder. And in the case of an exploration licence, you can either get written permission from the tenement holder, which is always your clever option if you can do it, or you can take out a Section 40E. The other thing to remember is that vacant Crown land, so ground that has not got a tenement over it at this stage, or if there's a pending application for a tenement, so if the ground is pending or blue on Trilobite or Tengraph, then that's ground that's available for prospecting. The thing to remember is with WA mining regulations, if you have the right to prospect on a bit of ground, then you also have the right to camp on that bit of ground, with a few conditions attached, but you get the idea. As I said, look, the thing about the pirates and poachers that do this sort of thing, I think it's actually fairly widespread. I think most people genuinely start off with the right intent, and then I think something clicks in the brain when they find out everything's far too hard, and they just turn into these twits. My opinion always, and I don't want to sound like I'm holier than thou, but my opinion always is that, well, most people are out here for enjoyment, and why do you want to be looking over your shoulders? But then again, I suppose, why do people steal? There's some people that are, I guess, not right in the head. To give you a little bit of an example of this, and this is a run-in I had with one chap last Sunday, in fact, so a week today. And I thought, well, I could just sort of recreate the scene a little bit and give you a bit of an idea of what was going on. I was hoping to do it with the magic of finger puppetry because of its just wonderful creative and descriptive nature. But ever since I lost part of my finger, I just feel a little bit self-conscious about that, and I just feel finger puppets were not the way to go. So I've come up with another idea, and what we have here on the back of our cornflakes packets is me. So there's two protagonists, me, yours truly here, and I'll just flick the screen so I can see myself. So there's me, and then there's the poacher over this side. Now, this fellow over here, he had Perth number plates. He had a 7000 detector and a Scottish accent. Now, when I say a Scottish accent, it was a sort of a hint of a Scottish accent. It wasn't like the Proclaimers, which is that wonderful band that released that song in 1988, which it's going to be, you know, that I'm going to walk 500 miles and I'm going to walk. So it wasn't like that. It was just a sort of gentle roll of the tongue on occasions, but it was enough to say, he probably came out like a 10-pound pom in the 50s. So that was this fellow over here, and then there's me over here. I'm playing myself, and this fellow's playing the poacher, the court. So anyway, I was driving around. I was getting some samples off one of our tenements not far out of town. See a car up on the side of the hill, and went and had a look at the car. I thought, oh. And sure enough, there's this fellow. He didn't see me, but he was still detecting away quite happily. No thoughts or concerns. And I said, where's the effect of... And I've always been a fan of cool heads prevailing in the bush. I don't think that it achieves anything by being aggressive or frightening people, and it's not to say I haven't done it in the past. Sometimes I lose my nana. But most of the time I try and be the better person and be relaxed about it. So anyway, this is me, and this is the pirate over here. So, g'day mate, how you going? No, actually it was more like, oh, hello. And this guy was like, oh, hello. And I said, well, do you know where you are, mate? And he said, yep. And I said, so you're prospecting on a live lease here? And he said, yep. And I said, well, this is our private lease and it's illegal to be here. And he said, oh yeah, no, I understand that. I was just passing through. And I said, what do you mean, mate? He says, oh, I do that. I'll just drive around and I'll just try here and I try there and I'll just sort of see if I can pick some gold up. And I said, but do you know where you are, mate? He says, yeah. I said, do you realise you're on a private lease? Do you have Trilobite on your phone? And he said, trailer boat. Yes, I've got Trilobite. I know exactly where I am. That's my words, not his, actually. So, yes, I know where I am. So, you're prospecting illegally on our lease, and that's okay with you? Well, no. I'm just passing through, and I've always got respect for tenement holders and respect for the law. And it's like, well, mate, I don't think you do, because we're here, and you're prospecting illegally without our knowledge, and that, for me, is not very respectful. And I'm just sort of starting to go around in circles, and I'm thinking, far out. I take a photo of him, and that's the photo you can see there, just for my records. And so I say, well, mate, you don't mind if I, pass this information onto the gold squad? He said, no, I don't mind. I said, oh, and there's not a lot I can say at that stage. So I said, well, here's the thing, mate. We don't, all we want's the respect. I mean, we just want people to ring us up and say, look, Tony, we'd like to prospect on your leases, and is that possible? Because that, for me, is respectful. What you're doing is not respectful. Oh, okay. Anyway, mate, probably best if you push on, and we'll leave it at that. Oh, okay. So he goes and picks up his detector, and I'm sort of walking off up to get my samples, and he's walking, and then he sort of stops me and says, oh, look, do you think I could get permission to go onto your leases? Okay. So, what's it? Resting bitch face at this stage. Do you reckon I could get some permission to go on your leases? And, mate, why would I do that? Why? You're here prospecting illegally. Why would I give you permission to go on my leases? And I was getting a little bit annoyed at this stage. Oh, fair enough. And off he trots. And I'm left there getting my samples, absolutely dumbfounded. Okay, so that was the recreation as best as I can. It wasn't verbatim. It was just, as I said, I feel that finger puppetry would have been far more appropriate, but the little paddle boards is the best I can come up with. So where does that leave us? All right, well, the thing is, if you are prospecting in areas that you don't have permission to be in, that is called illegal mining. Okay, so you're swinging a detector, that's illegal mining. If you are recovering gold from that process of illegal mining, it's theft, it's gold theft, and that's a very serious crime. And the situation that Lisa and I found ourselves in all the time is that we actually get targeted. We know damn well that there's flea bags out there that will go out onto our tenements when we're running training courses, because they know that we're tied up here. A lot of people say, well, are you going around and policing it and putting people out there? And the thing is that Lisa and I are just a small family business, and every minute that we spend out talking to poachers and pirates and flea bags is a minute that we're not getting looking for gold or training someone in how to find gold. So it used to give us the whoops a lot more than it does these days, but we realised that particularly with people like this fellow who really doesn't give a damn. So if you see him, clip him over the back of the head and say, "Good on you, mate." Cockhead. So the thing is that there's nothing that we're ever going to do to change these people's attitudes or their habits. So the only ones that lose out of it is Lisa and myself. So we tend to just, tell people to move on and just move on ourselves. What I would say is that we have put one person before the magistrate, and that was because that was a local in town, and they were raiding one of our leases for over 3 years, and we found him, proved it, prosecuted him, and he got it quite a serious criminal conviction. So the thing is, he knew exactly where he was on our leases, and he'd been going out there for years. All he had to do was knock on the front gate and say, "Look, Tony, is there any way we can sit down and have a chat about this?" Whether I would have or not have is not really the point. It's all about respect and giving someone the opportunity to say yes or no. That's the key to it. You see, Lisa and I have never looked at gold as though we own it. Right? The ground is not ours. It's actually owned by the people of Western Australia, and it's managed by the government on the people's behalf. We don't own the ground, and therefore, in my humble opinion, we don't own the gold either. What we do, or what we do own, is the rights to look for the gold and recover the gold that's on those tenements, and that's really all it is. We genuinely want everyone to find a bit of colour. We genuinely want people to do well out of prospecting, and doing well out of prospecting does not mean stealing. That's just something that people don't normally do. There was a friend of ours that's still in the game, and he probably had the best approach to it at all. There was a fellow prospecting on his leaf, not far from where he was camped. This is many years ago now. And I don't believe it was this guy, but I'm not too sure. There was, the story as it relayed to me, and I reckon it'd be about right knowing the guy. A friend of mine, he politely asked this guy to bugger off. He said, "Yep," and he didn't. And so this guy went back again and said, "Look, how about buggering off, because this is a private lease?" And "Yep, no worries," didn't. And so the fella I know, and I hope he's watching because it was one of the funniest things I've ever heard about, goes to the fella's car and goes around to his passenger's side, undoes his glove box and starts going through his glove box, chucking things out here and putting stuff on the bench, on the seats. And the fellow detecting came over all irate, going, "What the hell's going on?" He was losing his shit. And my mate said, "Well, you're stealing from me, so I assumed it was fair enough for me to start stealing from you." And I reckon that's one of the best stories I've heard lately. It's just this amazing disconnect that people get in their brains, that they don't think that they're stealing gold. All I'm after is a few little pieces. Well, that's great. Then you do it the right way. There's plenty of good ground available through legal means, and so I can't see the point of stealing. So that's just me. I'm not trying to be holier than thou. I'm just trying to explain how it works in WA. Prospectors, I hope that's been of some value to you, and hopefully I haven't ranted and raved too much, because that was never my intent. The season is well and truly on us. There's a shit ton of people up here in Leonora, and many people doing the right thing, and there's some really good gold being found that we hear about on our little grapevine. And at $5,500 an ounce, it does not take long for it to all add up to be something quite significant. We also hear the same thing every year, where people have spent a couple of $1,000 to come over from Victoria, and they're not finding gold. And all I'd say is that the gold is there. and what you need to do is improve your skills, but also keep a good positive mindset. Find out where the old timers' workings are, and then work away from those down slope wherever possible, and be patient with yourself. It takes time to get good at finding gold. It's just a skill that you need to learn, and as I always say, you've got to do your apprenticeship. So for those of you that are pulling your hair out, don't enjoy it, make a trip out of it, as my dear dad used to say, and your fortunes will be there. All right, prospectors, you take care. See you later. Well, I will walk 500 miles, and I would walk 500 more to be your man, dude, walking down in do-dee-doo-da-da-do-do-do. Great song, that. Proclaimers, 1988. Yeehaw.